Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Attorney John Deaton, who is running for the Senate seat of Elizabeth Warren, had a debate last night, and I was able to watch it live. And I want to share with you a few of the most interesting updates, especially the parts that pertain specifically to crypto and specifically to XRP. Yes, indeed, XRP did come up during the debate last night. And not surprisingly, Senator Elizabeth Warren didn't go so well for her. In fact, after this debate ended, she was just basically on radio silence. John Deaton's trying to get everybody to watch it. Here's the link. Here's how it went. Clips are getting shared. And then Senator Elizabeth Warren on social media, zoop, nothing. It didn't go well for her, but can you be surprised? Are you surprised? Probably not if you've been paying attention. She's been blatantly lying about Attorney Deaton for the longest time, for the entirety of this campaign. And the line about why he ended up there, how he ended up there, all sorts of stuff. So it was a pleasure to see how this turned out. And Attorney Deaton handled this debate in masterful fashion. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, by the way, real quick before I get to those specifics, I did want to mention something because we are waiting on some particularly notable news, which should be coming in theory at some point today. The SEC, today's the deadline for the SEC to file specifics in regards to their appeal against the Judge Torres decision in the SEC v. Ripple case. Just yesterday, Fox Business journalist Eleanor Terrett shared the following post highlighting this deadline. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because, you know, it's a little after 6 p.m. Central Time as I'm recording this. The SEC hasn't filed anything. So presumably they're going to do something super last minute. But in which case, you know, if possible, I'm going to try and get coverage on this on my channel as quickly as I can, assuming this does come out tonight. But I can't imagine it doesn't, to be clear. But here's what Eleanor Terrett had to say. So just had a great chat with Stuart Alderati, that's Ripple's chief legal officer, of course, who gave me a rundown of the appeals timeline. The SEC's last day to file Form C, which will give some level of detail about what it plans to appeal, is tomorrow. And again, she posted this yesterday. That means today is the day. Today is the deadline. Then she says 7 days later, Ripple will file its own Form C, which will give more details about its own cross appeal. Both parties will then agree on a briefing schedule, and the SEC then has up to 90 days to file its first brief. Alderati says he expects them to take the full 90 days. That opening brief will be a full recitation of all the legal arguments that the SEC will be making. Ripple will file a response and then its own brief. The full briefing process, according to Alderati, will go through July 2025. Okay, so obviously, we all have interested in this because we've been following this case for years, and XRP was at the heart of specifically the SEC v. Ripple case, but I will reiterate, this will not impact the legal status of XRP, period. You know, the SEC, they can't even appeal anything having to do with secondary market transactions except for transactions specifically originated by Ripple, because there wasn't a ruling, broadly speaking, of secondary market transactions. There just wasn't. Only specific transactions having to do with Ripple. So XRP's in the clear, period, just to reiterate that. I was curious, though. I was, you know, again, now it's after 6 p.m. Central Time. I was like, when's this appeal thing like when are we getting this document here? And so I shared a post asking just that. Hey, Form C, haven't seen anything on social media, at least not at this point. And Eleanor Terrett was kind enough to respond about when the deadline is, and she said it's today, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. That's what she has been told. And the reason I wasn't quite clear on that is because although I've seen the SEC throughout the SEC v. Ripple case file all sorts of stuff late, Attorney Bill Morgan was responding to somebody else at like 4:20 Eastern Time saying that they've got 40 minutes left. And then Attorney Morgan said something along the lines of, yep, there's leaving it down to the last minute. So I was like, oh, so it really does have to be filed by close of business and not by the end of the day. And so it turns out, though, according to at least Fox Business journalist Eleanor Terrett, we actually do have until close to midnight. So I can't imagine that they fumble so badly, even with the incompetency of the SEC, that they're not going to make the deadline, in which case this would screw up everything for them. Although I wouldn't hate that. You know what? Even if that happens, I'm still going to make a video celebrating that. Be like, these freaking idiots. But no, I do think they're going to file something. We'll just have to see what that looks like. On to this, though. So From the Crypto Basic, here's the headline: Deaton brings up XRP in fiery debate with Senator Warren. And let me cover the part of the article that specifically has to do with XRP, because I wasn't sure if that was going to come up or not. I thought there was a pretty reasonable chance that there would be talk about crypto, and yes, there certainly was. And Senator Warren had these bogus points to bring up. More on that in a second, but let's talk about this portion first. Piece reads as follows. During the debate, Deaton took the opportunity to highlight how his efforts in the XRP case have had ripple effects, both literally and politically. He claimed that his work, which he said he conducted pro bono, helped to prevent the SEC from unfairly targeting small investors. The Massachusetts Senate candidate also mentioned that his efforts led to a federal judge declaring XRP not a security, a significant win in the legal battle between Ripple and the SEC. And I'll pause to note that's absolutely true. There are literally thousands of sworn affidavits from XRP holders that were collected and submitted to the court thanks to John Deaton, because John Deaton was representing over 75,000 XRP holders, and tons of them wanted to file, and they did. And that was referenced by Judge Torres in the actual decision. So yes, that was highly consequential. Our community had a major impact, and specifically, of course, John Deaton had a major impact on the conclusion of this case, and specifically the part that mattered most to us, the legal status of XRP. We got what we wanted. One of the most amazing days ever. But anyway, piece continues. In the debate, Deaton recounted his role in the lawsuit, framing it as a fight for justice. He pointed out that the judge who ruled in his favor was a lifelong Democrat. This fact underlined the bipartisan nature of his victory. Deaton also boasted about the accolades he received for his work on the case, including awards for Lawyer of the Year and Consumer Advocate of the Year. According to Deaton, his defense of XRP was not only a victory for crypto, but also a win for everyday investors. He linked his legal success to recent political donations. The attorney noted that Ripple chairman Chris Larsen, who supported his Senate campaign, had recently donated millions of XRP tokens to Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign. And I'll just pause to note there, technically it was donated to a super PAC, and so the PAC would actually be the ones that have the control over the funds. But it is true that absolutely a ton of XRP was donated specifically to support Vice President Kamala Harris in her campaign for the presidency. I will also note that it's not millions of XRP that were donated. It was more like, as you can see on the screen here, this was shared by Eleanor Terrett. It was more like, I'll choose a round number here, 1.75 million XRP, which at the time was worth $1 million. So Chris Larsen did donate that, and I covered that at the time. Understandably, lots of people in the XRP community confused, not so happy with that. I've said my piece on it, so I'm not going to end this video. And then the piece continues. Deaton argued that without his amicus brief and the victory of the XRP case, such contributions would not have been possible. He humorously directed his comments to Harris, noting, quote, "Madam Vice President, if you're watching, you're welcome," end quote. And I did think that was kind of funny. And then we also had this, more broadly speaking about crypto. My God, Elizabeth Warren, she's just insufferable. Like, every other word out of her mouth is just a complete lie. She's arguably the worst senator, certainly today, but perhaps in the history of the country. So here, Cointelegraph covered some of this, and I want to highlight this part. Deaton, a Republican candidate, called out Democrat rival and incumbent Warren during the October 15th debate for focusing on building an anti-crypto army instead of prioritizing other issues impacting the lower and middle class in the state. Quote, and this is from Deaton, "With illegal immigration bankrupting the state, with inflation pricing regular people out of the economy, why did this senator wake up one day and say, with all that, I will build an anti-crypto army," end quote. Well, isn't that an interesting question? Why did she do that? And why does she feel so strongly about this? Why does she so badly want to burn this all down? And there's a reason that there's been such broad speculation. I think it's reasonable that despite her claims early on when she was initially running for Senate way back in the day, speaking out against the banks, this or that, she's pro-bank at this point. In fact, anything that happens with major banks, with JP Morgan, so on and so forth, there's been all sorts of stuff in the news lately. Mum's the word. Just not going to say a damn thing about anything happening horribly in the traditional finance within the banking system. But then you go and you want to attack crypto and build an anti-crypto army. That's a quote. And this all with data being out there. It's like, what, less than 1% of Bitcoin transactions are used for nefarious purposes? I mean, realistically, we all understand, and this is true, and she has to know this is true. She just has her ulterior motives, whatever they are. She understands that if you're a bad guy and you want to do bad things, you use something that's not trackable in a public blockchain. You use the dollar, if anything, right? So this argument that crypto would be the way to go, no, that's a public blockchain. All that's publicly visible. So no, that has never made any damn sense. And so interestingly, though, she's acting like she's not against crypto. And that's because I think she understood the threat and the degree to which John Deaton could absolutely hammer her on this. And certainly he did bring this up sufficiently. He did, but I'm saying, like, can you imagine if there were like a full hour long debate just on crypto? This would not go well for Senator Warren. So for instance, in this first debate, one thing, and again, this wasn't specifically about crypto, so I'm not surprised this is the case, but one thing that wasn't brought up is that Senator Warren, during a Senate hearing, she gave questions to Gary Gensler before, along with answers that would be sufficient, which is completely ridiculous. It's unreal that's an actual thing that happened. So if you were to give Deaton an hour where there was just a debate just about crypto stuff, it would not go well for her. But there are all sorts of topics, so you can only say so many things in these types of environments. But John Deaton, that said, I mean, he covered some of the most important stuff for sure. He did a great job here. But, Elizabeth Warren, my God, what a train wreck here. So it seems like she just wants to prop up the existing banking system and then ruin our opportunity for life-changing wealth. It kind of looks like that to me. But now she said here, because this is what I said a second ago, she's saying that, no, she's fine with crypto. She's actually, if you just want to buy and sell. Now, the thing about that is, look at her actual actions. She absolutely embraces Operation Choke Point 2.0. She absolutely is willing to attack specific cryptos and state that they're security. She's absolutely happy to to turn off the on and off ramps so that even if you in theory can buy and sell crypto, what does that even mean to her? She just said a thing that goes against everything that that's why. This is another thing John Deaton did great. He said, watch what they do, not just listen to what they say. He said that multiple times throughout the debate. And I was like, yup. And he was absolutely nailed. And every time she'd lie or wouldn't answer a question, be like, see, notice you listening at home. She lied and she didn't answer the question again. I loved it. It was absolutely perfect. That was just fantastic to watch. I rather enjoyed that. So check this out. Warren claims she's fine with people who want to buy and sell crypto, but want to ensure the industry follows the same rules as banks and stockbrokers, namely consumer protection and counterterrorism laws. Okay, so that's what Cointelegraph wrote. True. That's what she's claiming now. Except for, again, like I said a second ago, Operation Choke Point 2.0. Make it so that, the banks, this is true, banks have been attacked for participating in the world of crypto, and then all of these lawsuits against cryptocurrency exchanges. It's about trying to shut that down. But then she speaks out of the other side of her mouth, yeah, but people, you buy and sell crypto, I'm fine with that. No, you're not. You're saying that because there's a pro-crypto candidate running against you, standing right next to you, and you don't want to get hammered, and that wouldn't go well for you. So you're just lying. I don't believe her. She said a thing. Does anybody believe that, though? I mean, come on. We had this post from attorney Jeremy Hogan. He said, John Deaton knocked it out of the park tonight in his debate against Senator Warren. Passionate 100%, moderate 100%, organized 100%, relatable 100%. Get on board that Deaton train heading to Massachusetts. Spot on. That is correct. He was relatable. I just don't know how you watch that debate and you come away thinking, wow, Elizabeth Warren made some really good points. I'm going to vote for that idiot. No, I don't see how somebody comes in. I actually think that way. Then there was this post. This is from this morning from John Deaton, referencing the debate. He said, Senator Warren stood on the debate stage and lied about me to the people of Massachusetts. She released an ad where she lies about me again. Senator Warren has been lying about me since I joined the race because she doesn't want to talk about the actual issues. Her hyper-partisan policies fuel division so she can hold on to power. A huge difference between Senator Warren and me is that I attack her policy positions, and she purposely tries to mislead people about mine. Ah, yes, that is so true. From the earliest of days. In fact, when Attorney Deaton just started to run, she put out a lie because she was trying to raise money. So she sent out this blast email and said that you know, the Republican MAGA machine, something to that effect, had recruited Deaton specifically to run against her because they just couldn't find anybody else, so they had to recruit him. And he's some sort of MAGA extremist. He's just making a blatant lies about all this. But then you have John Deaton, because he's a respectable person. He's challenging her positions. And he can do that because her positions, well, first of all, he's got integrity, and her positions are complete and utter garbage. There's also this post. This is from Deaton last night, and he said, if you watched the debate tonight, you may have noticed there was only one extremist on the stage. Elizabeth Warren's hyper-partisanship does nothing to help the working and middle class crushed by inflation and the cost of living. She is part of the Washington elite that fuel division to hold onto power. If you missed the debate, make sure to go watch it in the link below. So, like I was saying earlier in the video, he wants people to see this. And it's good because it is good for him. Elizabeth Warren, though, not so much. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. She did it as a formality. She felt like she had to. She would have gotten some flack if there were no debates. And she's hoping to skate to victory here because if the more people know the truth, the less good it is for her. That's pretty much it. She doesn't want people seeing this. But of course John Deaton does because he raked her over the coals. There's also this post from attorney James Murphy of the XRP community, aka Meta Lawman. And he said, there is one foolproof way to tell that John Deaton won the debate last night. You don't see Elizabeth Warren encouraging voters to go back and watch a replay of the debate. She doesn't even acknowledge that it happened. Yep, absolutely spot on. And they got one more debate coming up here, so it'll be interesting to see if it's even more crypto focused. There certainly was a fair bit of it in the first one last night. But there are also some local politics, which I'm not getting into because I think it's outside the scope of a channel like this, which is trying to be more crypto focused. And there's some other things as well. But looking forward to see that. And if, the more focused on crypto, it is, the worse it's going to be for her because she doesn't have a leg to stand on with any of that. So anyway, I'll be watching, though, to see if the SEC does file that Form C. And I do think they will. But I have a feeling of what they're going to do, but, I'll just hold off. It's not necessary to get into it in this video, but I have some thoughts on this and some suspicions. But I'll go ahead and wrap up here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.